Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with our returning guest, Neil Kleid, and new guest, Alex Cormack. We're here to break down one hell of a book, Medieval Issue 1. Traveling back to the 6th century with this one, and I loved it. We were talking backstage. Neil and I were talking at a little bit longer of length, and this book blew me away. I was not prepared for it in the best of ways. Neil, Alex, what's up? How have you guys been? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
It's been great. It's been a bit. Yeah. Hey.
So for everyone watching, we have had Neil on the show before. We're gonna catch up with him real quick and then dive into our new friend Alex. So Neil, last time we had you on the show, I think we were diving into one of your novels, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it the Phoenix Chase?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, the Phoenix Chase, my X-Men book. So this is a little bit different than that. Definitely back into the comics waters, but still shares a little bit of DNA with the Phoenix Chase. Phoenix Chase is a lot of fun, bit of a space romp. Definitely a little bit more like written from the gut. And that's what Medieval is. Medieval is a full-on gut punch, a loosely researched look back at the 6th century. Taking a guy named Danny Landau, who is a New York baseball fan who gets hit on the head with a line drive and ends up back in Camelot. And it's very over the top, very bloody, very brutal, a lot of fun, but also very emotional. It's a bit of a love story. It's a bit of a soul search. And I am joined by my pal Alex here, who just nailed it.
Alex, this is first time having you on the show.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man.
Man, it looks like you have worked on some awesome titles as well. So give us a little bit of a rundown on how you got into creating comics.
Well, I got into it. I mean, like growing up, I always liked comics and all that. My brother got me into it pretty much because I was doing animation right out of college, but like nothing was really picking up. I was doing festivals, but it was more pay to play and that type of thing. And I was trying to kick around some like doing illustration instead, and my brother was like, no, you got to do comics. That's where you're at. That's where it's at. You go do comics.
That's where the money is. The money is in comics.
So he basically pushed me into it. And I'm like, I'm great. And then, one thing led to another. Like one job got to another job, And yeah, I've been doing it full time now for more than a decade, which has been great.
Congratulations. And holy crap, animation, that to go from like such a grueling process to
comics was a piece of cake after that.
you're like only 24 32
pages
like
single frame.
Don't worry, I've managed to make it grueling enough for him. So we're good.
So how did you two end up meeting? We're here to talk about Medieval. This is one hell of a story about a fan at a baseball game ending up in Camelot, 6th century, modern day technology. It's a crazy mix. How did you two get together and create this?
So, Rich, right?
Yes. So I mean, I like when I first did this. A lot of it's influenced by the 1990s Keith Giffen, Simon Bisley, Lobo series, which is very colorful and brutal and violent and visceral. I was looking for somebody who can kind of really bring those like rich colors and like just the amount of destruction that you saw from those Lobo books into the fray. And I had just read Drive Like Hell, which Alex did with Rich Duick at Dark Horse. I know Rich, and I also know Dave Propose, who Alex has done The Devil Wears My Face at Mad Cave Studios. And both those books really kind of are like the first one is really kind of like high octane, over the top. And the second one is like a little bit like that, but really disquieting and kind of like dark. And so I was looking for somebody who could kind of balance both those. And I was like, you know what? I really love this work. I really love Alex. I'm totally going to reach out to him through Rich. And that's all I did.
So Alex, what was your first initial reaction when you got a hold of the script from Neil? Was it something that you were really into at first, or did you kind of have to ease into it?
Yeah, I was hesitant at first because I'm from Massachusetts. Like I've been going to see the Red Sox since I was a little kid. Like I've seen like back when like Roger Clemens was still playing. I've seen Mo Vaughn, I've seen Nomar, I've seen Pedro, I've seen all these guys all throughout the years. And so I grew up with the Red Sox all the time. And then to get a script about the Yankees, I was like, know if I should be doing this. This is probably not a good idea. I don't want to, I want to be able to walk around and see people I know and not get like hassled. And so I did some soul searching, and I've said this before. I reached out to my brother, who's a bigger Sox fan than I am. Like he's like he knows the stats going back to like 1902 or whatever, and he's gonna call me later and be like, no, actually it was 1904, like something like that. And but he just knows the history of it and everything. And so I called him and I was like, listen, I got this opportunity to this book. I think it's really interesting. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to do, but it is about the Yankees. Are you still gonna talk to me? And he's like, all right, well, he was like, yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But
yeah,
you throw in some little digs here and there, that'd be nice.
I'm just gonna say we were talking about this before, but for somebody who purports to be a big Red Sox fan, every time we do an interview, I'm wearing more and more New York gear, Coney Island, and Alex, I have yet to see any Boston gear from you. So
how dare you? I'm looking around now. I got hold. Let's see.
No, my cat was messing with my cord. Like I said, for whatever reason, the cat, if she can't get on the lap, she gets very angry. But normally she doesn't want to be touched throughout the day. So like throughout the day, if I go to pet her, she's like, no, get away from me. But like in the middle of an interview, she's like, you know what? Now's the time to pounce. So Neil, focus on baseball, medieval. What drove you? I mean, obvious, probably baseball fan, but out of all the sports, why baseball?
So look, the origin of the book is twofold, right? The first reason that I wrote medieval was I had just done these two really heavy comics at Comixology. One was called The Panic, which is like a thriller, like apocalyptic thriller, and then Nice Jewish Boys, which was like a grounded, intimate, emotional crime book. And I really needed something that was just a little lighter and a little bit like less emotionally fraught and more just like fun and visceral and what have you. And so I was like casting about for what to really write about. It's okay, Alex. Take 20 minutes.
Whoa, that's awesome, though.
It's the only Boston thing he's got. There you go.
The frame broke. That's why it's not up.
But, I was like, is he going to get a drink or something? Like,
that was bugging me. I'm like, I know I got some Boston stuff around here.
I'm gonna go draw a page. I'll be back.
I'll read real quick. I'm gonna
go walk the dog. So anyway, so I was looking for something fun to do, and I was doing the book we mentioned before, the Phoenix Chase, an X-Men book at the time. So I was like, I had that. I was like, should it be a superhero thing? And then I dared myself to read A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain, because I don't know. My kids and I think we were watching one of those, like a kid in King Arthur Court, one of those movies where like a kid goes back in time, and I was like, oh, I really want to read the original, and so I like pushed myself to read it. But every time I was reading it, because I'm a sports guy, I always transposed Connecticut, New York. So it was like a New York Yankee in King Arthur's Court. And I was like, why has no one done that? And I decided to make it about a New York Yankee fan, because I wanted it to be a little bit less like about hung up on like a historical person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and more about just like somebody like me who kind of loves baseball and kind of loves sports. And I'd always wanted to write a sports comic. So it just kind of was like a natural fit. But it's interesting because I feel like baseball is all about like people have baseball tribes. Like I mentioned before, I'm from Detroit. I live in New Jersey, but I'm from Detroit, so I'm a big Tigers fan. And so it's hard because not a lot of Tigers fans around here. But when I do see somebody like who's wearing a Detroit Tigers or Lions or whatever hat on the street, and like we pass each other, and it's like, go Lions, right?
Go Lions.
Go Tigers or something like that. And there's that moment of just like, yeah, I'm like half a country away from where I'm from, but like I still like I have my people. Mm-hmm. And so something about the tribalism of baseball kind of like drew me to it, and like the nostalgia, and also like a little bit of like the superstitions of baseball. All of that kind of like was what was sort of drawing me to it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But also this sense of just like the catharsis of really hitting somebody in the face with a giant heavy baseball bat seemed like a lot. And so
go ahead.
When I was reading like the Lobo comics, I was like, if I'm going to do any sport, it could be hockey, but there's something about like a big wooden bat that like makes for a good visual. And so that's kind of where it came from.
I was gonna say there was a lot of like hell yeah in this comic. I felt just from the character and just like his actions and personality. And Alex, I want to give you props too. The design of Danny was awesome. Not only that, but later on in the comic too, the way you aged him. The attention to detail you have with your scenery, with your environments, and the characters, I thought was just like perfect.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah.
It's funny because like I have a hard time jumping from issue 1 to issue 2, and for those of you who haven't read it, like you'll see, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but like by issue 2 he's got a beard, and so like most of the comic he's got a beard, and issue 1 he's like growing the beard. It's like scuff, like it's kind of coming in. And it always throws me off when I see him like on the cover of issue 1, and I'm like, he's weird, right?
Yeah, I love, backwards cap. We have the jersey, shirt ripped open, magnificent chest. Alex, where'd you come up with the idea for this design?
Oh, it's Neil. I just drew Neil. I asked Neil for a couple of pics. He sent them. I just drew him for that. Yeah, perfect.
He's like, just make sure to give me long, luscious hair, please.
Yeah, sure.
my wife asked for that too. My wife.
Yeah. So I'm here to help, and but no, I just kind of base them off of a little bit like people I knew, as people I know, that people are sports fans, people I've seen it like games, and like it was described like we wanted to be this kind of like this like kind of like almost like an Irish like kind of guy with a pug nose from New York, and when I drew like a handful of faces and be like, all right, here's like 4 or 5 faces, any of them look good, and Neil and Sarah was just like, oh, like this one right here, that's our guy, and but yeah, I just drew it right from that. So it's just kind of picturing these guys that I always see at ball games or see the fucking football, any sports events, that you see the crowd, and it's probably being a jerk.
So did you also do letters on this too?
That's Neil,
dude.
Right? Yeah.
So I loved the heart-shaped word balloon. I don't know if I've ever really seen that, dude. It was so awesome, and I remember seeing it, and I'm like, dude, this is killer.
Yeah, that was fun. So I'm like, I'll for all the actual comic book letterers out there, like, I apologize. I am not a letterer. I'm a writer and a graphic designer, and I know how to put like some letters on a page, right? But I'm learning like with every book. So I lettered the last 3 of my books, and every comic I do, I learn something new, or I push myself, and I'm like, I'm going to try this, right? Like there's like a water scene, I'm going to try to throw some bubbles on it, right? Like, but what I usually do is just study what is out there, right? Like Todd Klein, Taylor Esposito, Nate Pico. It's like a lot of people out there who are doing some amazing stuff. And I could, like Joe Caramagna, like I could never touch these guys, but I like to see what they're doing. And as I'm doing a book, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to try that out, see how it works. And sometimes
don't sell yourself short. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal work. Honestly, I really, you did the job of a letterer. The word balloons were like perfect, and the heart shaped one was just like chef kiss, really.
It's very
so,
emotional.
Alex, hands and horses, I heard, are some of the most difficult things for artists to draw. You have to do plenty of both in this. Well, I mean, it has to be awesome, like diving into medieval designs. What's some of your favorite parts of working on the comic?
Yeah, no, that was I mean, well, just being a baseball fan and all that, and also but yeah, drawing knights in armor and like all this stuff like that. I mean, it's a blast. It's so much fun. It's like the stuff that I wanted to do when I was like 6 years old or something. Like growing up, just being aware of that stuff. Maybe I am just thinking it's neat, so to get to draw this and and going into it, like for like research and all that was just a lot of fun, because it was, but for this one it was like all like I was doing it more like pop culture research more than like actually like what did they actually do like in 1100 or whatever year it's going to be, and it was more like, all right, what do they got, what did NC Wyeth, what did he draw, what he did what did he paint when he did like King Arthur, what did and I was looking at oh god, I'm blanking on the name, but a few other things. But one of the ones I liked, that was I went to Monty Python and looked at the Holy Grail. And,
oh yeah,
like what are they wearing in this one? And And like this one point, I like drew characters from Monty Python and then threw them in there. I just gave them the exact same outfits and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, man. I as far as horses and like drawing all that stuff, I mean, it's like a mental thing. Like if you say it's hard, it's gonna be hard. If you like lie to yourself and say, it's a piece of cake, it's less hard. But I mean, Kentucky Derby's online. You can look this stuff up. There's models of horses everywhere. You can like look at that and draw from that. You know, like go to the toy store, buy a toy horse. There you got a model. Draw from that model.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like drawing anything else. You know,
just do the damn thing, right? Like,
yeah, just do it. Yeah. If you have trouble drawing hands, guess what? You got a hand. Use the camera.
So
Take a picture of it. Draw from the picture. It's fine.
It's funny because I write like a note to every artist or every co-author that I work with, like in the beginning of the first issue, before we get started. Just like, here's where my head's at, what have you, whatever. And I'm going to read you from something that I wrote Alex at the beginning of Medieval #1, which says, as we build this thing, it will become clear to you that I'm not an expert on Arthurian England. Like the title says, I know just enough to be dangerous. And that to me is the tone of the comic book. I'm going to skip around. We're hardly aiming for realism here. And one of the things that I told Alex later on, which I maybe should have told him in this note, was I did no research. There's no, like, I didn't spend time like learning about King Arthur or learning about Camelot. Basically, This is me writing from like movies I've seen, from the Twain book, from like the myths that I know, like whatever I knew coming into this comic was what got brought into the comic. So like, there are people out there who are really, really like into Arthurian myths and really will read this thing and be like, wait a minute. And like, my opinion is you got to let some of that go, right? This is two baseball assholes writing a comic about another baseball asshole getting hit on the head with a baseball and going back in time. And that's what you need to come in to this book with.
A man that knows no fear, right? Holy crap. And I almost want to say, like, I feel like going into this not researching Camelot and King Arthur might have helped, right? Because then you're not bound by any, like, Bible or any sort of, like, strict guideline that, you know, you might intrusively feel like you have to follow.
Right, so there are things, look, there's a lot of Arthurian characters in here. Like, you're going to see some of the names you know, some of the myths, like, the, you know, characters out of myth. And what we did was, in certain cases, and I hope for those of you who read issue 1, you'll start to see like a big twist at the end of the first issue, right? Like some of those relationships were turning on end, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we'll have people who are sort of stepping in for other people and what have you, and you'll read this and you'll be like, okay, he does know enough, or they do know enough to actually like play with the paradigm a little bit, right? But I'll be honest, like a lot of that is just stuff I knew, right? It wasn't like something that I went and sat for, you know, months or a year to research. Mm-hmm. It was, okay, this is what I know about the myth, and here's how I'm going to do my take on it. And then Alex obviously helped. You know, we worked on it together. And so again, the title is the perfect title. It's just enough to be dangerous, and we are. I hope people enjoy it.
One thing I really loved opening up the first few pages of this book, because I did read issue 1 and checked out a decent bit of issue 2. Didn't want to do too much, though, to influence kind of my questions. I really loved the first like page. Like, you're like, here's a playlist for this comic. I thought that was so cool. You really don't see that a whole lot. What was your reasoning for choosing those songs?
It's so funny because I keep getting asked this question about the playlist, which was honestly something I just kind of threw on at the end. And I'll tell you what I tell everyone else. I don't write to music, right? A lot of people do that. They spend a lot of time writing with music playing. I have a very hard time having anything else in the background when I'm writing. I need to focus on what's on the page. But with Medieval, this was like the first book where I started to write a scene, and I was like humming to myself a song. And that song was So What by Pink, which like one of the lyrics is like, I'm going to start a fight, which really is that whole scene in issue 1 where there's like a huge fight in the middle. Mm-hmm. And it was just sort of the drum beat in my head. It was just like kind of going. And I'm like, I need to throw that somewhere in this issue, right? Just like the fact that like this inspired me. And then I started to think of like the other scenes and like music that kind of worked for it. And then as I did every issue, I would really start to think about like, well, the thrust of this scene, this would be like the soundtrack for this scene. Mm-hmm. And so what I really wanted to do was, for Alex especially, not even like I never even thought we were going to put it in the comic, was to give Alex the playlist so he could at least also feel like what like the tonal references for the issue were when he was drawing it. And
Alex is like, damn, I have to listen to Jay-Z.
Right, and so yeah, like a lot of like as you'll go through the 5 issues, like a lot of the songs are pretty New York centric, right? Like Jay-Z, Empire State of Mind is definitely one of them. But there's a lot of like fight songs, there's a lot of like love songs, there's a lot of like really interesting stuff in there. And I'm hoping that like when you think about like a mixtape, that like the comic kind of is its own little mixtape also, where like scene by scene you want to kind of like read it back and say like, oh, I love that song or I love that scene.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see like when I'm going through the issue, like issue 3, I can see like where this song fits in. And the hope is as we do, finish the comic, maybe when we do the digital trade paperback, to publish like a Spotify playlist that people.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, Alex, one thing I really loved about this, I'm a big fan of gore, blood, guts. You did a phenomenal job on these, these fight scenes, the blood splattering, almost Dexter level, level of expertise on this blood splatter. Did you just kind of, go for it, or did you have anything like to kind of base your artwork off of?
No, I just went for it. It was like Neil gave me like kind of like a little push, like no, make this, mess these guys up, really make it like. Make it bloody, because I think when not spoiling anything, when you see Danny and he's after he gets hit in the head, which is page like 3, so don't worry about it. But when I sent it in, it was just he was just there, and I knew I was going to add in blood later in color, so the line work, like the ink work, was just him sitting there, and I think Neil and Sarah were like, no, he's got to be, you got to get some blood on this thing. I'm like, don't worry, I'm on it.
It's coming.
Yeah, let's be perfectly clear. I did give you the marching order to like, hey, amp this up.
I know, push it. Yeah.
But it's really our editor, our amazing editor, Sarah Litt, who I've worked with Sarah twice now, and Sarah was like, nope, more.
Needs more blood.
More blood. Like really, like.
Like, all right.
Yeah, we're like, okay.
All right, let's go.
All right, so everyone that is watching, we have a link right here to the pre-order. This is going live tomorrow, correct?
Yeah. So it's going live, Tuesday, November 11th. Issue number 1 is out. Go to the link that's there, or you can go to neilkleidbooks.com/medieval, and you should be able to find the link there as well. You can buy it via Amazon, and then download the Kindle app on your device, and then open it through your Kindle app and read it there.
That is awesome. So let's talk collaborative process. How did that look like working from script to panels? Alex, was there any sort of like hiccups or maybe head button here and there on like a design or a panel layout? Or
it was nice and easy. It was great. So we so as a start, I threw them character designs. Like, all right, here's some ideas of these seem to be the main characters. Here's these people. Any ideas? Do you like any of these? And Neil and Sarah would be like, like number 5 is good, number 3 is good. So I'd just put that on the buy, and then I sent out my amazing layouts that are almost as my layouts stink. They're just because my shorthand drawing is. It's
like when my kid comes home with like the drawings he did.
Check it out, look what I did.
He's like, I did this in art. Do you like my comic? And I'm like, it's amazing. And that's what I get from Alex for the layout.
Alex is like, I'll be sure to remember that for the next page rate.
Yeah, so because my shorthand is cartooning. Because I grew up like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like Bill Watterson or Gary Larson or Jim Davis. Like those were my heroes when I was a kid. And so my shorthand, whenever I sketch anything, it's all cartoony looking. Like my sketchbooks are like, even though what I draw in comics is more, there's cartoony stuff in it all the time, but it's it's not John Arbuckle walking around doing this type of thing. They don't look like that. But but my layouts are all like big circle eyes and like stupid mouths and everything, and I swear to God, the comic's gonna look better.
Yeah, if by the way,
I really don't know. I'm sure they believe me until like the pages start coming in. Like, see, it actually looks good.
I'll be honest. If this was like, and maybe we will, like when we do a print edition, but like if this was like a Kickstarter, I would actually, for one of the stretch goals, do like the issue
no.
with just Alex's sketches and like
That's a terrible idea.
Amazing idea. I'm totally gonna do it. Amazing.
So, Neil, this character, I loved how he was in the present day, and I think I even love him more in the 6th century. Just kind of how like insane he is. You know, wakes up butt ass naked, searching for his keys, his phone, his jersey, and how fast he gets to work. This dude is a brutal guy. I know we talked to Alex about kind of inspiration for the design, but what was, I guess, some of your motives when fleshing out this character for you? I know you said this book was kind of something that's been in the works for, a couple years now. So what kind of went into Danny?
So again, I mentioned that Mark Twain's book was sort of the basis for this. And in Twain's book, there's his lead character, Hank Morgan, who's from the 19th century, basically goes back in time and ends up back in time and does like a ton of stuff to really modernize Camelot. He is building a newspaper and making soap and redefining the military and doing kind of everything, like building toilets, right? And my gut was telling me that if I ended up getting stuck back in Camelot, I could maybe teach them how to make comics and pizza. And that's kind of it, right? Or maybe I could like write Harry Potter or like some like famous, something famous, and like write something and be like, you ever see that movie where like the Beatles are gone and somebody like the movie I'm talking about is where like he gets hit on the head and wakes up and the Beatles aren't a thing, and so he becomes the Beatles, right? Like I totally could steal somebody's like really good work and be like, yeah, with me. But the point is, there's a lot that I couldn't do, right? I couldn't build an electrical grid. I could use a cell phone, but I wouldn't know how to make a cell phone, right? There's a lot of stuff that I know, like this is what I can do, but there's a lot more that I can't. And so what I wanted to do was sort of ground Twain's book a little bit more and basically say, like, this is a guy like me who gets hit on the head. And I've known a lot of Dannys. Like, I've known a lot of Jewish contractors and plumbers who are into baseball and love to drink and love their girl and are really just about like, I love the Yankees, right? And so for me, like I'm surrounded by a lot of Dannys. And so I wanted to take a Danny and like somebody who I kind of know and basically stick him out of time and put him on like terrible footing to basically take all the things he loves away from him.
Damn.
And say like, when the things that really are important to you, which are, your girl, your team, your city, I don't know, Twitter, like whatever, and you take all of that away from a guy, like what does that guy do, right? And so that's really what the book's about. It's about like, who do you become when all the things you love are suddenly not there anymore, right? It's also learning about like, maybe the things you love aren't the things you need to become the person that you are, that you're supposed to be. And so that's really kind of like the theme of the book. But what I wanted to do is show that like at his heart, like you mentioned, like he's great before he gets hit on the head, but he's better after. Like, don't forget, and for those of you who read issue 1, there's a period where there's like a 1-year jump, right? He kind of ends up at Camelot, there's a year, and then you see him a year later. And so this is a guy who has been spending a year coming to terms with all that. And we don't get to see that year. We just kind of get to see where he is now. And he's sort of like, he's done. He's tired. He's like, I've spent a year trying to figure out like who the hell I should be. What should I do now? How to get home? Will I get home? I don't know. And so he's just sort of like broken a little bit and also like emotionally exhausted and trying to come to terms with the fact that this is his reality. And then shit happens and his life changes and he then kind of goes on the quest for the rest of the book. And so that's kind of where it came from, right? It came from, I want to take this guy and strip him of everything and let him figure out who he is.
I really love your response to that because reflecting back on what I read, I remember some little nods here and there to the Mark Twain, what you were telling me about how he normalized Camelot. Especially that scene in particular, the water refreshment for the night that Alex slaughtered. We talked about that before stage. I don't want to spoil too much for the reader out there. Phenomenal scene, though. So, Alex, when you're designing these panels, what do? Do you listen to any music? Do you listen to background
I listen to
shows? You listen to just the playlist? Jay-Z on 24-hour loop.
Oh, yeah. Jay-Z's big, yeah.
Actually, I
think
the first playlist is good, but I think the rest of them are much better. Like the first playlist.
Yeah. I mean, each one goes with each issue and all that. Yeah, but no, I have it as a big thing on my Spotify account, what have you. But I'll toss it on all the time.
Yeah, I think we've got four songs in the first playlist, and I mean, this isn't spoiling anything because you'll see it tomorrow. But it's like Empire State of Mind, Beastie Boys is on there. Yeah. Pink, and then Guns N' Roses, right? Like, it's like a nice mix.
I thought they were all bangers, honestly.
Yeah.
I grew up, born 89, grew up early 90s. That was all stuff I listened to. So phenomenal playlist, honestly. So we are getting to that point where we need to start wrapping things up. So for anyone who is on the fence about pre-ordering, ordering this issue 1, what would you like to say to them directly to kind of help push them over that hump? We'll start with Neil first.
Who the hell do you think you are?
I'm walking here.
No. Look. I mean, the one thing that I'll say is for those, I'll speak to two types of people. I'll speak first to the people who are familiar with my work, which tends to be very about legacy, it's about family, it's very emotional, right? Like a lot of my stuff tends to be very heavily dramatic, right? This is definitely a shift, right? This is out of my wheelhouse. This is Neil out on the high wire, trying something new. But if you know me in person, it's definitely got my voice, right? Like it's pretty brash, it's pretty sarcastic, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of pop culture references, right? Like it's very, very, very much me, even though it's very much not me. And I think you'll have a lot of fun here. For those who don't know my work, again, who the hell do you know? For those of you who don't know my work, I think this is a really good entry point to my work because it's not it doesn't demand a lot of you. It's a pretty easy, quick read, and it's a fun read. Mm-hmm. If you can get past the blood and the F-bombs, I think you'll find that it's a fantastic narrative as well. And it's really like I said, it's like a really good look at a person who is suddenly trying to figure out who they are in their world, which I think is something we can all relate to. And so it's 5 issues. We start tomorrow, comes out every month leading up to the baseball season, right? Our last issue is March, I believe, right before the 2026 season.
That is awesome. I love that so much. That is so cool, dude.
And we hope you like it. Like Alex and I think we put a lot of our heart and soul into this one. Even though it is, I wouldn't say easy breezy. It's it's not as heavy as a lot of other comics and graphic novels you may read. It still is. There's a lot of bite to it, and a lot of other bite and a lot of biting as well.
And last but not least, Alex, I do want to say too. I really loved the boss's new weapon design. Killed it on that one. I thought everything looked brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. So for anyone out there who might be a little hesitant, what would you say to them?
Oh, first off, get over yourself. It's gonna be great. It's
forget about it.
Not only will you make you live a better life because of this, you'll make your family proud. And but no, I mean, for one, I mean, honestly, Neil's writing this is so much fun. It's so great. But because it's not like everybody just talks in a flat as we're talking right now. Everybody from Camelot sounds like they're from Camelot. It's fantastic to read the conversation between Danny and just anybody else, and that alone is worth the money. Right,
can I just talk about that for a second before I know we're gonna wrap? I know we're gonna wrap, but I will say that was probably one of the highlights. People have asked me oh, did you enjoy writing Danny? And I'm yeah, it's fun. thinking up new curses and
Yeah, that's also worth the admission.
You know,
But
so
that-
it
that
is an
sounds-
injustice we didn't get to talk about that, because I was going to say, Neil, the way the beginning part of the comic, where it's just the ball game and everyone's like, forget about it, like, fuck you, I love that. And then you get to the later part of the comic where maybe he's an asshole perchance, I don't know, like, I love the two dynamics of it.
Right, so I think that to me is one of the best parts about it. Is like, again, I said I didn't do a ton of research, but even writing for like the Arthurian characters, for like King Arthur, for Merlin, for all the characters that you're going to meet in the book, right? Like, what I did was I didn't try to like make it Shakespearean or like very dramatic Game of Thrones, right? It was literally me like, okay, if I wanted to get across like there's one point where somebody's like, that's how it's done. Like one of those characters is like, that's how it's done. And I'm like, how would I say that if I was King Arthur? Right? How would I say that's how it's done? And I have to we have to work on like what's the dialogue in like medieval like 6th century England, but like that version of that's how it's done, right? So like that I think is also like a lot of fun, like being able to kind of see like the balance and juxtaposition of Danny's dialogue versus Arthur's and other characters. So
and that's been great.
I do off.
That's been great in the script too for me, because it's great just reading just complete different type of.
You know, you spoke of Monty Python earlier, and I want to say that's probably a good vibe for the script writing. When I was reading it, I kind of had that vibe where it was like old school Camelot vibes, but with a sense of humor to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that's high praise. I appreciate that. I'm nowhere.
He's like, go on. Who do you think you are? So we have come up to my favorite part of the show, where I get to ask you guys for a piece of advice and what you're up to outside of creating. So, Neil, we'll start with you once again. For the aspiring scriptwriter out there looking to start a series that's a little bit new, maybe it's something that they're brushing the dust off of and, getting it down off the shelf to start working on as well, what would be your biggest piece of advice for them to stay motivated while, keeping at it?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've thought about this a lot in my career, but like every book's a miracle, right? Like, and if you can just finish something, right, it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to win awards. It doesn't have to even make a ton of money. Just like if you finish a book and write something like that, to me itself is, especially now, the world's going to hell, right? And so like there's a lot going on. We're all exhausted. And so like if you have the focus and the time to just finish a script or finish a manuscript, like hats off to you. Just keep going. Like just get it done. So that's all I can say right now.
I love that. And it's so true too. It seems like every day more and more is getting added onto the plate to kind of keep you too busy to really chase your dreams, right?
Yeah.
Damn. So Alex, for the artist out there, we were talking earlier about just doing it. You got a hand, just draw it. You got a horse, go buy a figurine to draw it. For someone who might be a perfectionist in an artist starting out, what would be your advice to help them push through that barricade? I know for me, I'm more of a writer than I ever was an artist, but that was always the blockage for me. I would draw something, I'd be like, oh, this is horrible, and just throw it away, never pick it up again. So for someone like that, what would be your advice to help them pick that pencil back up?
Tell them being perfect is boring. Don't do that. It's a lot of the best stuff.
Yes, Alex, we can tell. No,
like when you see a painting, you see brush strokes. That's some of the best things you can see. So get over yourself. Nothing's ever perfect. But honestly, right now, advice I'll give to any artist is, if you're doing digital, try to make handmade pages if you can, because my feeling with like stuff like AI coming up and all that, a lot of people are going to be looking for that original, like they want to see a pencil line, an actual pencil. They want to see ink thing. They want to see something that somebody made by hand, and that's going to start meaning a lot more. I think, at least in the years to come, when you see so much AI shit, everybody's going to kind of want to go see that dirty stuff, that kind of crappy stuff. And don't let that stuff get you down. Photography didn't kill painting. Painting's still around. It may not be as much as what it was, but it didn't die. So don't let it get you down. Keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, I can give out advice about this stuff all day, but yeah, go to conventions, meet writers, make friends. You know, the majority, pretty much every job I've got, like everybody I've been working with, I consider a friend. You like consider you a friend. So, you know, it's like we met through a friend, you know, so get out there, make buddies, be nice.
I think that's probably the best advice you can give to anybody who wants to get into, especially comics, but any creative field, right? Like, make a network, right? Build your network.
Build that circle, yeah.
And we're friendly. We're a friendly group.
Yeah, but and don't just make it about like the work, right? It shouldn't just be about like I want to get more work. It's about like, you know, people who will have your back when you need them.
Honestly about it, not like you're faking anything, but be a friend. Be a friend to them. Be a buddy. People like to work with their buddies. You know.
And if I may, the flip side of that is this is a very small industry. And just remember that if you're getting into it, we all talk to each other. We all know each other.
Yeah, we all know each other. Yeah.
And so who do you think you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Also,
you know what you do? You
AI
tell people
too.
that you bought Medieval and on day one, and people will be so impressed that then you got yourself a career there, my friend.
They want to be your friend after that. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I really love the camera didn't kill painting, you know, photography didn't kill painting. I love that. I guess I never really thought about that, right? Like that is that's awesome. Awesome advice, you two.
It's just a new thing. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
So what are you guys up to outside of creating? You know, what TV shows are you watching? What books are you reading? What video games do you guys game? You know, what are you gaming on? Neil, what have you been up to?
So I'm not a gamer. I don't really play video games so much, but I watch a lot of television.
For creative things, it's
it's weird. You caught me between shows. You caught me between shows right now. Only Murders in the Building just ended. That was the one I was watching. Peacemaker. I was watching Peacemaker, which I think is hilarious.
Dude, I swear to God, when you mentioned the Beatles thing, they had that. Didn't they have something where they talked about who's the famous band here, and it wasn't it was a totally different band?
Yeah. They had because they did the multiverse thing. So
yes, because when
like,
you said that,
bands.
I was like, dude, I swear to God, this is so good. I remember like hearing something like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what I'm looking forward to now is the last season of Stranger Things. Actually, I just rewatched. Was it season 4? And so I'm kind of ready for that. Books. I'm reading a lot of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips' Criminal. I came late to Criminal. And for those who know that a lot of my books are crime books, would be sort of shocked by that. But like, I read the first one and I didn't get past the first one, so I'm now like burning my way through those, and they're not just beautiful to look at, but the Ed Brubaker, he's amazing. So like, yeah. And then I mean, just getting ready for winter, I guess.
That is awesome. Alex, what about you?
Let's see, what have I been doing? Funnily enough, for Medieval, I was on like a Conan kick for a little while.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm sure that also got into the character design with all long black hair and all that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, so I was reading a bunch of that lately, and but right now I'm reading an old Mickey Spillane paperback that my wife got me for my birthday. And Vengeance is Mine, which I think it's called, but you know, it's but other than that, I mean, we just got a dog like 3 days ago.
Oh,
and,
puppy.
So we got a puppy. Yeah, it's
what
his
kind
name
of
is
dog?
Cooper, because we already have 2 cats. It's Captain Quint, Chief Brody, and now we have Hooper.
Hooper, is it Hooper or Cooper?
Hooper, like
Hooper.
like a Josh, you know.
Is it Golden Retriever?
No, it's like a Labradoodle. Like,
I was like, you got Airbud over there? What's going on?
My wife teaches one of her students had like they had like a zillion puppies. And they're like, listen, we gotta get rid of these. Who wants a dog? And I'm like, well, we've been talking about it for a while. Sure. And so that's been the last like 3 days really, and so running around doing that. But yeah, that and Mickey Spillane, and my son's been watching the Muppets like crazy the last couple of days, so the Muppets are there too. So
yeah, Muppets, man, shoo! I realize Muppets have been around for some like what 30 years now.
Oh yeah, since like longer than that.
I want to say they're one of the longest running TV shows. Yeah, dude,
It was first. It was in. They were first around for Saturday Night Live, which was what 1975.
Yeah, isn't that
right?
goofy?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
First season. It's not great, but yeah, they're
It's
there.
not great.
Yeah, it's kind of like okay. It's like right after like Weekend Update or something like that.
Mm-hmm. That is
but no,
awesome.
like great Muppet Caper. Like we've had that on a bunch. We just ran through that the show they tried out a couple of years ago on ABC. It was kind of like
Like the
Office.
Office.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
pretty good. Yeah. But like it starts with like Miss Piggy and Kermit broken up. I was like, whoa.
What a crazy dynamic
Like
here.
is love not real? Is this coming out somewhere?
Well, they just announced a Miss Piggy movie. It's coming
Yeah,
out.
I guess so. So I told my son, he's like, all right, we gotta go see it.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
your kid and my kids are very, very different.
Everyone that is watching right here is a link to pick up this awesome comic. It'll be live tomorrow, so be sure to hit it. Be sure to pre-order it. Are you able to pre-order on Comixology, or is it just buy it when it goes live?
I mean,
Yeah.
you can pre-order it for the next hour
Get
or
to it.
two.
Yeah, we got yeah.
So
And
be
then
sure
you
to
can just
pre-order
buy
it.
it. You just buy
It's
it.
super cool. Pre-order it and then order it again.
Yeah,
Get
order
yourself
it
a couple
again.
Copies just in case you want to read it twice.
Yeah, but
Tell your friends, your family too. It's free to share on social media, so make sure you do your part and let everyone know about this awesome book. It is time for us to wrap up. I hope you all have a fantastic night, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly. I almost said keepeth, but I was like, I don't know if that's gonna roll off the tongue. And I don't know
That's
if they're
even more
gonna.
geeky.
I don't know. I don't even know if they're gonna get the joke. But I was like,